Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, and my friends, it's time for some more Street Fighter news. So Street Fighter 6 was at the Japan Expo in Paris very recently. The game was playable on site, and also they had a little bit of an exhibition. So footage you're seeing right now is actually Luffy versus Mr. Crimson, so that's pretty interesting. And more so interesting yet is we learned that, well, there's some fairly major shakeups to how Street Fighter has traditionally worked that we can now find in Street Fighter 6. Now, obviously, there's the big stuff, drive, system drive, impact parries, all that stuff. That's all very big, very important. But I'm talking more just stuff that's been established over the years. Not so much all new systems, the gameplay, that kind of stuff, just the stuff that's been the way it's been for as long as it's been. So enough of the mystery here. Let's talk about fireballs. Fireballs, well, geez Louise, they're one of the biggest, most important aspects of Street Fighter, right? And there is a major change in how EX fireballs work now. With some small exceptions, generally how it's always worked is a regular fireball, regardless of the character, is a single hit. And if you do an EX fireball, it's 2 hits. And there's, cases where sometimes it's 3 depending on the character, but whatever. Generally, regular is 1 hit, EX is 2 hits. And here's how it works if they clash. 2 normal fireballs hitting each other, they just cancel each other out. If an EX fireball hits a regular fireball, it'll destroy the regular fireball and go through to the other side, but it'll lose one of its hits. Like, one of the hits is used up destroying the other fireball, then only 1 hit will go through. So if you burn the EX, you can be confident, yes, I will win. Maybe you won't get as much damage. And some fireballs, the damage is actually tied up in the first hit. So you might only get like 20, 30 points. But regardless, you won in the end, right? So it was always worth it to do it just so you quote unquote win the fireball war. Now that rule is out the window. That is no longer how it works. In this clip right here, Chun-Li is doing her EX fireball, EX Koken, and you might notice something here. So it goes through one Hadoken, goes through a second Hadoken, and still hits Ryu on the other end. And not only is it hitting Ryu on the other end, it's still getting both hits. It's a 2-hit combo. So the old rule of EX Fireball beating regular fireballs, but it drains hits from the fireball along the way, no longer applies. The EX Fireballs, and I'll show more examples of the other characters here in a moment here, but EX Fireballs, no matter what now, get all of their hits, regardless of what regular projectiles they destroy along the way. Here's another example, Ryu's EX Hadoken. It clearly beats Luke's projectile and still gets 2 hits at the end. So, as you can see here, this is seemingly universal. This is a very big deal. And just to round it out, same example here, but Luke now tossing the projectile clearly beats Hadoken and still gets both hits in the end. So gets all the damage. Now, it can be defeated in a way. So Ryu's doing his Denjin install and then tossing EX Fireball here against Luke's Super. And it actually beats all the hits at Luke's Super except for the final hit. So, using a Super to go even with an EX is not necessarily what you want to be doing. But that is just how strong the clash levels now of EXs are in Street Fighter 6. And 2 EX Fireballs will still clash against each other and destroy each other, just FYI. So this has pretty major implications, not the least of which was the drive system is you can do this stuff from the start of the round, right? You don't have to build up bar to do this. But this helps certain characters overcome like worse matchups. Like Chun-Li is a great example. Chun-Li, her fireball is not there to win zoning, right? Like, she's not going to zone you out with her fireball. She's not Guile. Like, it's there to help supplement her neutral. And against more fireball heavy characters, traditionally in most games, she tends to suffer just a little bit. But now, if she can clear-cut destroy other projectiles, multiples of which on screen, and always get the full amount of hits in the end, that's a pretty big boon to her game plan. And obviously, for the characters with better fireballs, it's better yet, right? Because Ryu, his EX Fireball knocks down, Chun-Li's does not, right? But for characters with weaker fireballs, it helps shore up the fireball gap, I guess you could say. And at a bare minimum, when you're on the offensive, it's always better to do more damage, right? So if you destroy and crush a regular projectile, you will get the full amount of damage that you would do if it just hit raw, versus like, you know, Street Fighter 3, Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5, where your EX will lose amounts of hits for destroying other projectiles. So to any given person, to any given character, the person doing the EX Fireball, this is a straight buff across the board and fantastic for them. It's certainly going to make Fireball Wars more interesting, as now there's a lot more incentive to make sure you're the first one to put out the EX Fireball. So there's that. That's the big one, but also a few other interesting things to note. One question I always wondered was answered. What happens if you hit someone with Drive Impact in the air? And it turns out, yes, it does put them in a juggle okay state. You can follow through with it. So now you know. Also very clever here, using the drive, rush, dash to like kind of get the space to make sure you can follow up and get the juggle. I'm sure when it comes to like juggle combos, like you can get a lot more optimal, right? But yeah, you won't get the full crumple combo or anything, but you definitely can still proceed and get some damage. Now another thing, a fairly major thing at that, noticed by one Lord Nurse Lee in this whole sequence of events here. Nurse Lee, good guy too, follow on Twitter. So, you know, Luke's pummeling Jamie in the corner and trying to jump in, and then that happens right there, and that's different. That's not how this normally works. So dashes forward, jumps, attacks, right? Now normally under regular Street Fighter rules, Luke should have taken the corner, because that's how Street Fighter works. There are other games, in fact a lot of other games, that's not how that works, but in Street Fighter, if you jump at someone who's in the corner, you take their place in the corner. And here, that did not happen at all. And it's a jump medium kick, that's Luke's cross up. So we go back to an older Street Fighter, and sure enough, you jump in the corner, you take the corner. That's how that works. That's how Street Fighter works. And seemingly, that's not how that works in Street Fighter 6. There are exceptions though, as I've found. So we got this clip here. This is also from the Paris event, even the same showcase, right? So it's not a different build or anything. And here, Ryu absolutely takes the corner. There is a difference here. Before, Jamie was standing up. He was not like, waking up as Luke is. Luke, he got knocked down by the Tatsu, does a back roll, goes for a throw attempt, and then he gets crossed up in the corner. So maybe you can cross people up while they're recovering, but you can't if they're already standing. I'm not sure. Or it could be that Luke's throw attempt just for a split second took him out of the corner, allowing for Ryu to take the corner. Going back to the other clip here, like Jamie's all the way in the corner, also whiffing a throw too, right? And just Luke cannot take the corner. He has all the space he would need to take it, but he just can't do it. Versus the other clip, Ryu easily takes the corner. So make of it what you will, but something's definitely at play here. If you cannot take the corner under normal circumstances for cross-ups, that's a pretty big deal. That changes how Street Fighter has traditionally worked over the years. And once again, too, the fireball change, also a big deal. And, well, a lot of things in Street Fighter 6 is a lot of classic stuff, but there's also a lot of new stuff, as we keep finding. So this video basically is just to give you an update as more and more tech and more differences from Street Fighter 6 to other Street Fighter games are found out, because I find this stuff endlessly fascinating. And I hope you guys do too. So there will be more Street Fighter 6. I don't know if there will be anything newsworthy, but there'll be more Street Fighter 6 at the San Diego Comic-Con, including a developer panel. And if you want to see the full matches here at the Japan Expo in Paris, I'll post a link to those in the video description. And otherwise, well, we're at the end of the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Street Fighter.
Oh, yeah.